Sit. This is Dixie. Dixie has some accidents in the house. And so in this video, I'm going to go over some basic potty training tips and also teach you how you can use a bell to tell, or use the bell to have your dog tell you it needs to go outside. Now, for potty training, or lay, that's passive training. Remember to do that. So for potty training, the 3 times the dog is going to need to go is right after waking up, 5 minutes after eating, and 15 minutes after the start of heavy playtime. So every time she gets the zoomies and runs around, look at your clock, and at 4:11, okay, so at 4:36, we're going to take her outside and give her an opportunity to go potty. Now, if you take her outside to potty and she doesn't go within 5 minutes, it's usually not urgent enough to go. I bring her back inside and either carry her or put her in the kennel, wait for her to protest and get fussy. A lot of people think the longer the dog is outside, the more likely they are to go. They're distracted. When they're urgent enough to go, they'll go. So 5 minutes out. If she doesn't, then she comes in and goes to the kennel, or you carry her, or you can put her on a leash and tie it to your belt if you want. When she gets fussy, that's when you take her back outside. Now, I'd recommend the family here come up with a new command word for potty. Right now they're saying potty, and some of the family members say a different word for number 2. You only need one word for both actions. Now, before I go through this, I'm going to go through the 2 most common mistakes people make with potty training. I didn't ask the guardians here off camera. They're going to tell me in a second if they do that. I'm guessing they probably don't, maybe one of them. Number 1 is rubbing the dog's nose in it. It's been clinically proven to make it harder to potty train because when I pee, you rub my nose in it. I don't like that. I like licking it. I don't like my nose in it. So they'll teaches them to go away from you to potty. The second mistake people make is they chastise and yell and punish the dog for having an accident. Come and point at it. Dogs have a window of 3 seconds, like I mentioned off camera. And so if you don't catch her in the act, and even if you do, punishing is not really going to work. What a lot of dogs learn is when I potty, you get mad. So I'm not going to potty or let you know I have to potty. I'm going to go hide instead of telling you. What we mean to say is don't get I'm mad when you potty inside. They just think it means you get mad when they potty. You get mad when they potty. So don't do any of those things because they will make it harder. What you want to do is take her outside and at the times that she needs to go. I also like to take them out about once an hour when I'm potty training. So the more they're in the right place, the right time, the more likely they're to go. So take her outside. Don't tell her to potty. Just follow her around and have some high value training treats with you. As soon as she starts to pee or poop, say business or plop or splat or whatever the word is you want to use. Say it in a normal tone of voice. A lot of people go, business! And that'll stop them from eliminating, and they'll come in and have an accident. So just say it in a normal, casual tone of voice. When you get done, crouch down like you're a softball catcher. You want to kind of try to stay within about 10 feet of her as she walks around the yard. As soon as she starts pee, you say the word. When she finishes, you crouch down and hold your hand out. She'll come and take the treat. Remember, always the treat goes in the mouth first, and then say the command word immediately after. So now we're associating. When you eliminate, I hear the word business or whatever the word you decide to use. And then when I get done, I get a reward, and I hear the word business again. And after a while, the word is connected with the act, which is connected with the reward. And after a while, she's like, I dare not waste this urine inside because this stuff is valuable. I do it outside. I get paid really well for it. Now, she's been doing this inside for quite a while. There's not enough Febreze in the world to cover up pet urine, and they can smell cancer in a person's body. So I would recommend that you have a professional come in and clean it and limit her access to the areas that she's had accident. She's potty trained or she's had accidents, because the smell attracts, oh, I peed here before, I should pee here again, and she's in a habit of doing that. I'm also going to talk about marking. I'm going to do that at the end though. So the bell, the most common mistake people make with the bell is they hang it from the door. And dogs learn through association, repetition, and good timing. You have 3 seconds to correct or reward the dog. So if I learn through association, what does the bell ringing mean? The door opens, not potty. So what I'd like the guardians to do is first spend about 2 weeks, approximately, might be a little bit more, a little bit less, with your new word, walking her out for every bowel movement, or every time she goes out. And once she pees, then you can kind of come inside and let her do her own thing. But you want to make sure you're rewarding it. So make sure somebody goes out with her for about 2 weeks, otherwise you have to do it in the winter and you won't want to do it then. So once you've gotten to the point where you can turn your head and say business, and she jumps up and down, you know that's a yes. Or if you turn your head and say business and you look at her and she doesn't, then it's a no. But you want to make sure she has a verbal cue. So if you say business and she doesn't respond, she probably doesn't know the command yet. It takes about anywhere from a week to 3 weeks for her to figure that out, depending on how frequently you're doing it. So for the, you're a cutie. All right, for the bell, what you do is you take it off. So I'd like the guardians to do for about 2 to 3 weeks. Just the bell is going to be down, and we're going to take her outside with a bell. When the 3 weeks is up, then we're going to go outside with the bell only after she knows the command word. As soon as she starts to pee or poop, we're going to gently ring the bell, the same intensity that she makes when she rings the bell inside. Don't do it too hard or too soft. So the whole time she's peeing or pooping, we're gently ringing that bell. When she gets done, we clamp it so it doesn't make a sound. We crouch down, put a treat in her mouth, and then we gently ring the bell while she's chewing the treat. Same principle as what I talked about before. After a while, then the guardians can hang the bell in the room that they hang out in. It doesn't have to be at the door. Then she goes and nudges it, and that means I have to go out and potty. I think right now she nudges it saying, I want to go outside. And so we have some confusion. So yes, and the guardians are doing a good job when she can't, when they're at work, she's in a long-term confinement area in a room where she doesn't have access to a lot of other stuff. And that's what you want. Remember, no punishment is going to help with potty training whatsoever. Even verbal, you point at it, she just isn't going to know if it's in unless it's in that 3 seconds. And even then, it just takes a lot of repetition. Now, that's accidents. Accidents are by definition not intentional. They're accidental. Marking is different. Marking is I'm peeing on things so people know that there is a dog around here that's in charge, namely Dixie. So marking often comes from dogs that get free pets, are allowed in the furniture, or higher than their guardians are applied, and a lack of rules. So they get confused into thinking that they are in charge of us, but we don't listen to them. And so that stresses them out. And so then it's like, if a guest comes, I have to go pee on things. So if another dog comes in, it knows that there's a dog in here that's in charge. So I spent a lot of time off camera before we shot this video going over rules, structure, through petting with a purpose and passive training, and the importance of exercise. All of those things do not seem directly correlated to marking, but they absolutely are for marking, and I wanted to go over those prophylactically, but also she's insecure about some other things as well, and these things are going to help with a lot of other areas of her life. So if she is marking, it's hard because she doesn't do it in front of you, she does it away from you, correct? And so really what we want to do is kind of limit her access unless we can directly supervise her and so maybe she's only allowed to be in the long-term confinement area when we're gone, and we come back in, maybe she's allowed to be in this room, but only when somebody's here. If we go in the next room, she's got to come with us, or we put her back in the long-term confinement room. So I know it's laborious at first, but you really want to limit her access to make a mistake, because every time she does that, she's continuing the behavior pattern that she's been doing for years. So we have to interrupt that, and it's going to be inconvenient for about a month or two, but that's why you have her on the leash or have her with you in every room that you go in, and after a while she just gets, and at the same time we're giving the positive reinforcement to reinforce her for going outside. But marking is intentional, and until you flip the leader-follower dynamic, you can't fix the marking. So it's going to be really important that everybody pets her with a purpose. Sit. And then I'd pet her under her chin and I'd say the word sit. So if she comes up and nudges me and I pet her, then I'm telling her she's the boss of me. So next time she nudges you, just tell her to sit. If she's already sitting, ask her to come over here or ask her to lay down. And after a while, she'll come start prepaying for it. And I have videos on petting with a purpose and passive training. If you guys want those, let me know, and I'm happy to share them with you. All right, well, let's see if we can get her back up here. Anything else you guys want me to cover in this? I think that's...
The potty training wise?
Yep.
Nope.
Okay. This is Dixie, and these are tips and tricks you can use if you have a dog that has access to the house, needs to learn how to ring a bell, or potentially does some marking.